You a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from 2022 all the way back to the 1930s. Yeah, that's right. The Supreme Court wants to take us all the way back to the 1930s. Fuck them. Fuck the GOP. And fuck everybody who thinks it's a good idea to get rid of Roe v. Wade. That's right. Starting it off political, and I don't give a shit. That bothers you? Stop listening. We're furious, and you should be too. Anyway,
I have a smile on my face in the video feed. However, fuck that.
Yeah, you're smiling because you like that I'm telling the Supreme Court to fuck off. You're happy with my...
Oh, now I gotta tag this one. So this one's getting the not safe for work tag.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't give a shit.
And it deserves it. So, yeah. Speaking of things that don't deserve a safe for work tag.
Yeah.
Oh,
by the way, my name is Mike Gibson, and he's Steve Holler. What's up?
Oh, hi, guys.
Okay. I don't want our regulars to get mad that I didn't say the "What's up, Steve" thing. That's like a common thing.
It is a staple at this point.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how we feel about that. And we're going to move on to some lighter fare. We might as well make this a regular segment, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's...
Flash Watch.
It's like Panda Watch and Anchorman.
Yeah.
Flash
right.
Watch.
Yeah. This is Flash Watch. I feel like last week, a number of times in previous weeks, we've started off with an update on what's going on with Ezra Miller.
We're not gonna update you on what's going on with Ezra Miller. Google it because the hell?
There was a new update regarding Ezra Miller, where he's staying and who he is staying with, and what his house is filled with. We're not gonna go into that because blah.
Yeah.
Blah. Sorry, them. Sorry, I didn't mean to misgender him or them. Sorry. But we talked last week about the options that Warner Brothers has at their disposal, and we talked about how it really doesn't look like they're interested in reshooting the movie, recasting, whatever. But I gotta say, I just read this on Twitter, and I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was worth mentioning, I guess. Writer, podcaster Mark Bernardin, he is a co-host of Kevin Smith's Fat Man Beyond podcast, where they talk about nerdy stuff, similar to this podcast, but, more famous.
Slightly higher profile.
Yeah. So anyway, apparently he said this on a recent episode of Fat Man Beyond, but then also tweeted it, and that's where I saw it, and I wanted to read it's his suggestion for the best plan of action for Warner Brothers. So it's via Twitter from Mark Bernardin. He says, Warner Brothers needs to spend the money and recast and reshoot. Talking about The Flash. Yes, it will cost them another $75 to $100 million, but the film they currently have is likely unreleasable, definitely unpromotable. And then he goes on to write a statement for Warner Brothers. In the time since we shot the film, our star has conducted themselves in a manner that has run counter to both our corporate philosophy and, more importantly, the law. We believe in The Flash and in DC films, so at great expense, we've created a version that we can stand behind. Which I think would be a great statement. I think that makes perfect sense to me. He goes on to say, that's not just the right thing to do. Frankly, it's all that they can do. And since you can't build a new DC movie universe around the Ezra Miller Flash and recasting would just have to happen anyway, bite the bullet and do it now. And I certainly understand Warner Brothers not wanting to spend that money, not wanting to acknowledge this scandal. They certainly haven't really acknowledged it publicly yet. But, having it, I don't know, Mark lays it out pretty perfectly, I think. And now I'm on board that this should be what they do.
Oh, yeah.
If they do anything, this should be it.
No, and that seems... Either you drop The Flash, which you've touted as one of the biggest possible films you're going to put out, and has multiple implications on the larger DC universe,
Yeah, it was
With-
built. It was designed to do that.
Right.
Designed as that.
with zero promotion and zero ability to do any of this, or you go back, as Bernardin is saying, and reshoot it, and like hell, yeah, you can go all the way back to recasting. Just grab Grant Gustin. Like, he's not doing anything. They're finishing The Flash. Like,
Yeah.
grab him and do what you need to do. But
You
yeah,
don't even know if he would want to do it though. That's the
no.
thing. Like, everyone's saying Grant Gustin, but like, he's done with the Flash. He may not want to be a new Flash and a different thing. Who knows?
I mean, it depends on how many zeros you throw at him.
I guess that's true.
But like, yeah, I mean, at the same time, when you cast Ezra Miller, you had to have other people in the shoot as to who you were looking at.
Sure. Yeah.
So
who was your number 2?
Right.
Who was your number 2 choice for the Flash casting?
Go to the bullpen, find somebody, and give it a go. Because right now, you can't trot your biggest star, the namesake of the film, out on a press tour.
No. Nope.
I mean, you could, but not without some major implications to it.
Not without them having to answer for a lot of bullshit over the last couple months in Hawaii, in his farm in Vermont, whatever is going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of sketchy stuff happening. So I am firmly now, after reading this well-put statement from Mark Bernardin, firmly in the camp of, Warner Brothers, spend it, reshoot it. Like, this is the return of Michael Keaton's Batman. People want to see this movie. People want that to happen. And assumedly, it's going to spin off into Batgirl. You're introducing Supergirl in this movie. Like, I know you got plans for her, too. There's no way you're not going to introduce a Supergirl and not have plans for her. Like,
This will be a $1 billion movie.
Yes.
If you take $100 million cut in profits to continue to not slay the cash cow.
Yeah.
Like, you do that.
Yeah, and I remember I said last week that I feel like they don't want to reshoot it because they don't want to go down the same road as that they were on with Justice League, firing Zack Snyder and getting Joss Whedon. But in this case, that was studio manipulation. That was the studio not wanting to go with Zack Snyder's version and wanting a safer, toned down, watered down version of a movie.
Right.
This is problematic on the part of the star. So it's not the studio's fault. And the studio can own, like, if they do it the way that Mark Bernardin spells it out here, issuing a statement like that, saying like this is for the good of everybody, then they're only gonna like look good. It's only a good. I feel like continuing to put this movie out with such a problematic person at the forefront of it is a lose-lose for them.
Yeah.
If they want to spend the money, maybe that's a loss. But a public, like as far as like their public face goes, huge win, I think.
Right. If they want to continue
like
the DCEU, then
yeah, of course.
they
almost do.
Right, and they almost have to do that because what do you do when your titular character is played by someone who is non-promotable?
Yes.
There's no way. It's not like if in Marvel terms, if Robert Downey Jr. had Robert Downey Jr. problems,
if he became 90s Robert Downey Jr. again, yeah.
Like, well, actually, in hindsight, to think about that, the fact that Iron Man was his effectively his kind of resurrection as an actor, works out quite well. But if, like you said, 90s Robert Downey Jr. was at the helm of Iron Man, and then everything went down, Marvel probably would have walked away from him, or Paramount at the time. But it's you don't stick with that if you want any long-term implications to this. Yeah.
I think that's the move, Warner Brothers. David Zaslav, we know you're listening to this podcast. Recast, reshoot, spend the dough, do it. It's the right thing to do. After I've been convinced it's the right thing to do. And like Mark Bernardin says, it's the only move you have.
Yeah.
If you want anyone to like this movie.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And there's got to be
anyway.
I wonder who the almost cast would have been, to use a term from the Syracuse native Superpod Hero cast. They would always run down the almost cast in these movies.
I don't remember hearing anything about people being up for the role at the time. I mean, we're talking back in like 2015, probably now or 13
yeah.
or whatever. 13. No, when did Batman vs Superman come out? I think 15 or 16, maybe. So anyway, yeah, it would have been a while ago. There were rumors because that's where Flash first showed up in that little cameo. But yeah, I don't know who it would have been, but just get somebody like hot, get somebody like Harry Styles, or he's like acting now. He's in like Marvel stuff, or he's gonna be like, like, yo, you're a huge celebrity, and you will put butts in seats for this movie that we have to reshoot. Do you want to be the Flash?
Right. You want to be Star Fox? All right. We'll give you an even bigger role. Enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want to be a minor character that no one gives a shit about? We'll give you a fucking A-lister.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be the Flash? Come over. We'll be the Flash. You'd actually be pretty good now that I think about it.
Yeah,
I don't know much about
that.
Harry Styles. I haven't seen him in much, but like, you know, he seems like loose and fun and funny, and that's kind of like what they're going for with the Ezra Miller version. So, get Harry Styles. Hashtag Harry as the Flash. That's my new hashtag. Recast the Flash and Harry as the Flash.
There you go.
That doesn't really make sense. Harry as the Flash could have different implications depending on how you spell it.
Yeah, yeah. Work on that one.
We
might have to workshop that.
We're workshopping the hashtags, people. Send us in what you think the hashtag should be about how getting Harry Styles cast as the Flash. Anyway, let's stop talking about that.
Oh, let's stop talking about that speculation and more talking about other speculation.
More speculation. Moving in the Marvel Universe, Kevin Feige, the man himself, says that the next big MCU saga will soon be revealed. His quote, he's talking to Total Film magazine, I believe. His quote is as follows. As we're nearing the end of Phase 4, I think people will start to see where this next saga is going. I think there have been many clues already that are at least apparent to me of where this whole saga is going, but we'll be a little more direct about that in the coming months to set a plan so audiences who want to see the bigger picture can see a tiny, tiny, tiny bit more of the roadmap. So, I like this, although I have seen zero clues. I have picked up on zero clues already. We thought it was all going to be multiverse stuff. We got 3 different multiverse-centered movies, or 2 movies and a show.
Yeah.
Haven't really connected. I mean, Doctor Strange spun out of the Spider-Man thing. Loki has not connected to any of them yet.
Well, we know Loki will connect to Fantastic Four. Or no, not Fantastic Four, Quantumania.
Oh, because of
Jonathan
Kang.
Majors will be Kang in Quantumania.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though he's quote unquote he who remains in Loki.
Right. Good call.
So that'll be more timey-wimey multiverse stuff too, because Ant-Man.
Right. The only real hint that I can think of was in the post-credit scene of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, where, I mean, spoilers for that movie, you haven't seen it, where Shang-Chi and his buddy, whose name I don't remember, Awkwafina's character, his best friend, they get, like, Wong, like, pulls them into, like, a back room, and they talk to projections of Captain Marvel and Bruce Banner about, like, his dad's 10 rings have some kind of, like, weird properties or something, blah, 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 blah. That, to me, is the only thing that teased anything moving forward, really. Yeah. And, I mean, that doesn't give me a specific idea of what they're talking about, but...
No, and the 10 rings, again, just going off of, we're 2 weeks in. Are we clear for spoilers on Ms. Marvel's episode 1?
Yeah, I think so.
So her powers coming from that bangle, I would assume there might be some sort of connection. Like, if you have physical artifacts, I would assume they're all tied together.
You know what? You're right. I think he did mention that, or somebody mentioned it, that it might have to do with the bracelet bangle thing, cuff that she wears to get her
and
powers.
For the record, none of us have seen. By none of us, I mean neither of the two of us.
None of the two of us.
Yeah, have seen episode 3 of Ms. Marvel. I still haven't seen episode 2. So I'm shooting in the dark on this one, but it seems like artifact-y type stuff would be tied together, knowing how Marvel does things. So
could be, Rings, the bangle thing. Yeah,
I don't know.
Could be. I do like that we're gonna get a picture of something soon, according to Kevin Feige. But what's soon? That's Thor: Love and Thunder.
I'm curious because you've got Gore, who I don't think they would tie back to Null, because Gore the God Butcher gets his powers from All Black the Necrosword, which is a facet of Null, who is the king of the symbiotes, effectively. I don't think they're going to tie into the Sony multiverse that much to give Null a thing. I think they'll probably find some, like, I don't know if All Black will be mentioned by name or anything. It'll just be a sword that gives Gore his powers or something along those lines. So I doubt Love and Thunder is going to be our tie. Beyond that, it's kind of like, we know Secret Invasion is a thing.
But do we know, is that coming out this year?
This year or early next year. It just got confirmed that it went into 4 months of reshoots. But but they also confirmed the 4 months of reshoots weren't 4 months because of stupidity. It was 4 months because of scheduling.
Yeah.
So like they were like, yeah, it's not that much for reshoots, but we have all these I mean, you've got like Samuel L. Jackson and all these big name guys that can't get in for reshoots in a timely manner. Right. So they confirmed that. So you have the Skrulls. You have Thunderbolts being set up.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You have Young Avengers being set up.
Yeah.
You have Jonathan Majors as Kang sitting there.
I think just because he says soon, will soon be revealed. I got to think. I can't see it coming in She-Hulk. No offense to She-Hulk.
No.
That they're going to be too busy like setting up that character and building out that world of Hulks.
Yeah.
My guess is that we'll get something big with a Black Panther or Wakanda Forever.
Yeah. Either actually,
does that count as soon?
I would say so.
I would say so.
I would say anything within this calendar year is probably considered soon.
Yeah.
Because
he says nearing. What's the end of Phase 4? Fantastic Four is supposed to be the end of Phase 4, right?
I believe so. So
we don't even have a director for that movie, dude. I don't know. That might get bumped to Phase 5. There's no. I think they want to keep it in Phase 4 because there's a 4 in the title, but they don't even have a director.
Right. So Phase 4, you're currently Multiverse of Madness came out, Love and Thunder, Wakanda Forever, Quantumania, Guardians 3, and the Marvels. And then Fantastic Four and Blade were supposed to be Phase 4, but we haven't heard hide nor hair of those.
Haven't heard anything about Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing we've heard about Fantastic Four is that they lost the director.
Right, that John Watts is not doing it.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Blade at all, besides we heard his voice at the end of the Eternals. Spoilers, already.
Yeah.
Not a big spoiler because it's not a big deal.
Right. So I'm thinking you might have been on Love and Thunder.
Phase 4 started with Black Widow and WandaVision and all that stuff.
Right, and Shang-Chi and all that. Yeah. I'm thinking moving forward. So the full slate was Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, and then the ones that I mentioned. And you also had all of the TV shows that have come out until now.
Right. So like the
moving
Marvels
forward, you have
this year.
No, Marvel's is 23, and
Ant-Man's 23.
Ant-Man's 23, and then you have Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars, House of Harkness, and
is that all Phase 4?
That's all supposedly Phase 4.
You gotta be kidding me.
Now,
insane.
Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars could all be 23. So
yeah, I think Secret Invasion
you could wrap up in 23, and Fantastic Four could be like the February 24 movie.
Yeah, all right.
Or April. Like April's always a big date.
Yeah. Now I'm starting to read some bullshit into this. Quote, nearing the end of Phase 4. Kevin, I don't think we are nearing the end of it. I think we seem like we're halfway through. If we have all this stuff to get through still.
Yeah, seeing it started in 21, and we're through 23 with like Fantastic Four and Blade have to be 2024, just judging by dates. So
Phase 3 had a ton of stuff in it, but Phase 4 has got to have the most so far because it's got shows and movies.
Yeah, I would think so.
So long. And I don't know. I'm of two minds about this because I am interested to see, like, you know, Marvel has put it in, like, when you go see Marvel stuff, MCU stuff, you know you're expecting continuity. That's like their thing. Continuity, continuity, continuity.
Yep.
And we're telling one big story. But for me, the vast majority of Phase 4 stuff so far has not felt like a big interconnected thing as much as it's just like individual stories about these characters, which I love. And this is where I'm saying I'm talking about out both sides of my mouth here, because a lot of times, sometimes in the Marvel stuff, I'm like, can you just have a movie that's just about this one character and it's not a commercial for the next movie?
Right.
Which they kind of they were struggling with for a while, I think. And
right.
But
to
like
be able
Doctor
to see
Strange,
a non-connected movie.
Yeah. Doctor Strange is very much just a Doctor Strange movie. You do have to have seen WandaVision to really fully understand it. But I like that Doctor Strange was just about Doctor Strange, really.
Right.
And it doesn't really tease too much about what's coming next. It doesn't have a whole plot line where one of the characters goes off to a weird well and has a vision about the Infinity Stones or something, like in Age of Ultron or whatever. But I think it's only because Marvel tells us to expect this continuity and expect these teases for moving forward that I'm kind of like, yo, what are we doing here? It seems like we're just spinning our wheels. Why aren't we like
well, and
they're still making connections, but the connections don't feel important at all, I guess is what I'm saying. Like the connectivity that we've seen in Phase 4 is just like, okay, so what? What are we doing here?
Well, and when you look at the outside of WandaVision, when you look at the TV series, you have outside of the fact that Sharon Carter is probably a Skrull, minimal connection to something else in Falcon and Winter Soldier. You have and you know, Patriot being in Young Avengers, and that there's some other connections, but you'd have to dive deep to get them. Same thing with, you know, to be fair, even Loki, like outside of the Jonathan Majors connection, there's really nothing that touches anything else there. Like the shows are all pretty hold their own outside of WandaVision tying into.
WandaVision is the only show that has tied into a film that I can think of.
Because that'll tie into that and the Marvels. We
haven't seen any other characters from the shows appear in the films since they've been in a show.
Right.
Like, obviously, we saw, like, Bucky and Sam in other Avengers movies, but, like, since their show, it's not like they've shown up again. We haven't seen them post their show except Wanda in Doctor Strange.
Right.
So, I don't know. Yeah, it just seems like...
Yeah, even Moon Knight was legit just standalone. Like, there's no connection to anything.
Yeah, and besides seeing, like, a billboard for Rogers the Musical in Spider-Man No Way Home, Hawkeye is the same way. Like, you know, we don't know. Yeah. I mean, Hawkeye, it brought in Kingpin, fine.
Yeah.
But, like, that's not a connection. Like, where are we going? You know?
Right.
Yeah. So.
It's not a hot take because it's been out there, but I'm assuming the next big thing is Secret Wars. Just because of the multiversal stuff, just because that's the smart take as to where it's going, especially the Kang implications with the modern version of Secret Wars compared to like classic was it 80s Secret Wars?
Yeah.
Where Spidey got the symbiote suit and all that, which you know, I wouldn't mind, but that's its own animal. The modern one, you know, you bring in the Kang element, you bring in multiverse, like it, all signs point to that. So, I mean, we'll see where it goes.
We'll see.
But there's apparently going to be something soon. So,
I know. I'm not holding my breath. I think we're not really nearing the end of Phase 4, so who knows?
Yeah, soon is a very relative term, it seems.
Yeah.
In Feige's world. Yeah. Although, I mean, when you're talking about a guy who's planning wherever the hell he is, like...
Yeah, he's thinking 10 years down the line.
Right,
so for him, it's soon. Yeah.
Right, in his brain, Wolverine has already been part of the MCU for years.
Yeah,
and, like...
he's seen like, character design and costume design for all of the X-Men.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, in his brain, he knows what's happening.
Like. Yeah,
right.
He knows exactly what Doctor Doom looks like.
Yeah,
right
which
now.
Actually there was a statement by him, I believe, this week that made it seem like Krasinski may not be Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, I didn't think he was going to be Mr. Fantastic Four in the Fantastic Four movie.
I would agree, but it seems like because that was the big fan casting, like he literally came out and said we went with John because that was that was the fan casting. Yeah. And it was a nice nod. And
but then didn't also he say like let's make it real or something like that? He said like
I can't remember
quote with like a thing that was
there was some weird like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna do it. I think he did it because it was a one-time thing.
Yeah, and as long as they find somebody who fits, like I feel like for Krasinski fits the look and the grandeur of Reed Richards, but I don't know if he has the condescension and like I'm better than you, but like I'm smarter than you, and there's no way you can. There's.
It also depends on what version of him. Like, are they going to like? There's been a lot of talk about like, oh, the Fantastic Four should just be characters that were around in the '60s and got lost in time or whatever, and then they come back. So like they could be like vintage, Silver Age comic book characters. Like if they end up doing something like that or basing him off like the original version, like Krasinski looks and can do a more like modern kind of like thing.
If you went like was it Slott that had that run where
he's still on it, isn't he?
I think Slott's the modern run. Whatever the one before that was where they bring in Franklin and the whole 9 yards and Valeria and whatever.
Anyway, if we spoiled Doctor Strange 2 for you, sorry. It's on Disney Plus right now, so you can go watch it.
That's true.
There's a lot of crazy stuff right now. There's a lot of crazy stuff in that movie, so this would be a fairly minor spoiler, I would think. But anyway, he's in it. Anyway, we'll see where the Marvel Universe is going, hopefully soon, but probably not for another 6 months at least. Moving on into a world of miscellanea, director Leigh Whannell is going to helm the Green Hornet and Kato movie for Universal. Universal landed the rights to make a new Green Hornet movie, I think in early 2020. And the report said that Universal, quote, wanted to get back in business with Leigh Whannell after he did The Invisible Man in 2020. And Steve, did you see The Invisible Man?
I did not.
It is awesome. Awesome. If you like suspense and or tension in your movies?
On occasion, yes.
Well, buckle up for this one, my friend, because tension from the jump of this movie, it's incredible. It's so good.
Nice.
Highly recommend The Invisible Man if you haven't seen it. He was also rumored to be directing a Wolfman movie for Universal, but then ended up leaving. So anyway, so Leigh Whannell's going to direct Green Hornet and Kato is what it's called, and I love that they're calling it Green Hornet and Kato, giving Kato his due. The script apparently rumored that David Koepp, author of the original Spider-Man movie, has turned in a script for this movie. If you don't know, Green Hornet is a classic pulp hero created by George W. Trendle and Fran Stryker for a weekly radio show in 1936. So not technically a superhero, but predates Superman by 2 years, 1938. Just crazy. And Kato is his cool martial artist sidekick. It's kind of like honestly, you can't say that Bob Kane took some inspiration for Batman from, or Batman and Robin from the Green Hornet. And Kato, Green Hornet, is a, billionaire playboy Britt Reed who moonlights as a vigilante. However,
billionaire playboy philanthropist?
Yes,
like
exactly.
Tony Stark, which would be the analog to...
Yeah.
It's funny how they all take homage from each other.
Yeah, for sure. But the difference with the Green Hornet is the Green Hornet purports himself to be a villain, and therefore the cops are always after him. He pretends to be a villain so he can get closer to villains and figure out what their plots are, and then he takes them down. So bad guys think he's a bad guy, and good guys think he's a bad guy. There was a Seth Rogen movie called The Green Hornet I don't know,
2011. Yeah.
years ago, 2011. That was not great. Did you see that one?
No.
I gotta say, the ending was insane.
Oh yeah.
In a way that I was like, oh, this should have felt like this the entire movie. Like, I don't know, like he has like a specific car called the Black Beauty, I think, and at some point they're like taking on they're driving into a building full of like bad guys.
Yep.
And I don't know, I can't remember what happens, but the car gets like cut in half, but they just keep driving the front half of the car. It's just like up an elevator. It's just like batshit crazy stuff.
Right.
I was like, this should have been the entire movie. This is great.
Why didn't you do this from the jump? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Do you? I like Leigh Whannell based on the one movie that I've seen that he has directed, and I like the Green Hornet. I think it's cool. I like. I used to listen to the original radio show when I was a kid. Like there would be like reruns on like the NPR station here in Syracuse, and I would listen to the old Green Hornet show. So I like it. I like a pulp kind of vigilante hero kind of thing. I don't know. Did you have any relationship with the Green Hornet, or what do you think about this?
No relationship at all. It just, the serial stuff. It's always, grabbed me to a degree. So that like you said, that pulpy serial classic feel to it. It's like, I'll at least give it a watch.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool. Got a cool feel to it. I know Kevin Smith was attached to write a Green Hornet movie for a long time, years and years and years ago.
Huh.
Never came to fruition, but we shall see what happens with this one. Moving on into Westeros. Talked last week about the announcement of a Jon Snow spinoff. We got confirmation from the man himself, George R.R. Martin, and Emilia Clarke, co-star of Game of Thrones, both confirming that this show is happening. Jon Snow spinoff apparently is currently entitled Snow.
Wow,
what a name.
They went really original on that.
Went way far. Well, I guess there's like a double meaning though, right? Because it's his name and he's living in the tundra wilderness.
Yeah, fair.
So George R.R. Martin confirmed the show's existence, did give us some new details. I think it was just on his blog post. He said, yes, and this was surprising to me because we also, and as we talked about last week, Kit Harington has said that he was done with that character. He was glad to be moving on from Game of Thrones. But apparently, according to Martin, this is the quote from George R.R. Martin, yes, it was Kit Harington who brought the idea to us. I cannot tell you the names of the writers, showrunners, since that has not been cleared for release yet, but Kit brought them in too, his own team, and they are terrific. I am involved, just as I am with the Hedge Knight and the Sea Snake and the 10,000 Ships, all of the animated shows. Kit's team have visited me here in Santa Fe and worked with me and my own team of brilliant, talented writers and consultants to hammer out the show.
Huh.
So, wow, crazy.
And for the record, for anyone who doesn't know, the Hedge Knight is the Dunkin' Egg that we talked about last week.
Oh, okay, that's Dunkin' Egg?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then Emilia Clarke, in a separate interview, also confirmed that Kit Harington told her specifically about the show, that it was called that and that it was his idea and that it was a cool idea. Then when asked if she was going to be involved in it, she said, no, I think I'm done. So probably won't see a flashback of Targaryen relevance in Snow, at least not for now. But interesting that it was Kit Harington's idea and he brought in the whole team and everything himself.
Much like we talked about earlier, Emilia Clarke is done until they flash a check in front of her and are like, hey, show up for about a 10-minute shoot, enjoy, go on your merry way.
Yeah, exactly. Can you be this like Vision? Can you be Can you film a season's worth of dream sequences in 1 hour?
Right.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Come in, be a Force ghost, enjoy, go on your merry way. We'll talk more about these things later.
Speaking of, this is a tangent. Speaking of Force ghosts, if Emilia Clarke is returning to anything, I would really like to see her return as Kira to the Star Wars universe.
Very true.
That's what I want.
I really want that Kira and Maul, like, whatever Solo 2 is.
Yes, dude. I just want Solo 2, and I want that to be part of it.
Yes.
All of that.
Yep.
Or give me it in the Lando show. That may not still be happening because we haven't heard about it in 2 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about Star Wars. Actually.
We will be.
We're always here to talk about Star Wars. But Yeah, so I don't know if this makes me more excited for the show, but I think it's cool. I think it's cool when I like when a creative team is just naturally passionate about the source material and about the idea,
right?
And the thing they're working on. So to me, this is last week we were talking about like, oh, they got Kit Harington to sign on to it. Oh no, they didn't, because he came to them to say, I want to do this, So if it's an idea that he's excited about, if it's his idea, then hopefully then it's I like knowing that it's not just like, okay, we're gonna pay you a huge amount of money to get you to come back to something that you don't really care about. Like, no, he cares about it. It's his idea. He's invested. So hopefully that will show in his performance and the way the show's made. So
one would hope.
That's all I got. Yeah. Again, I don't know what it could be about. Just him stumbling around with the wildlings, but who knows? We shall see. Probably 5 years from now.
Right. Him and the equivalent of Tormund, like bantering back and forth for 8 episodes, I would be happy with. That would be a great show.
Yeah. Give us that.
There you go.
I can honestly see if this does go, this getting fast tracked, and we may end up seeing this before any of the other 6 other spin-offs that are being talked about.
Right.
Because it's an actual character from the show. It's a sequel.
Right.
It's not a prequel. It can actually bring in legitimate fans of the Game of Thrones series. Whereas the other ones,
they know
like it's Game of Thrones, but it's 1,000 years before or whatever, and it's only on these characters, and they know this is how they're tangentially, whatever.
Well,
no one cares about that. Just give me a character that I already know.
Right. We mentioned last week, my wife as the third-party example. I believe we asked her about the House of the Dragon, and she said, I really don't care. And then we said, do you want to see Kit Harington in a sequel series? And she's like, yep, sounds good.
I absolutely do.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
So we shall see more on that as it develops. Moving on into comics, we got a cool announcement from Marvel. This week, Marvel is announcing the return of Miracle Man. Everyone's favorite superhero.
Right.
Right? Slightly lesser known.
Which is weird. Miracle Man, I have no history with, but the names that are tied up in Marvel Man and Miracle Man are a who's who of wrote comics over the past 30, 40 years.
Yeah. The 2 names of the writers I'm about to read will make you shocked that you've never read Miracle Man before.
Right.
Anyway, Marvel announced that they're starting with a 40th anniversary one-shot called Miracle Man #0. But then, a couple days later, they announced a continuation of the Neil Gaiman and Mark Buckingham's run on Miracle Man from the early 90s. So, who is Miracle Man? Well, somewhere in the 80s, a guy named Alan Moore, who you may know from writing some of the greatest comics ever in the history of the world. He took an old hero called Marvel Man from the 1950s, updated him, gave him a super tragic backstory, kind of classic Alan Moore style. Let's take this guy and tear his life down kind of thing. Apply some real world view to this, character from the 50s. And kind of gave this character new life. Then, while being published at Eclipse Comics, he was renamed Miracle Man from Marvel Man, just to not be confused with Marvel Comics. But then Marvel ended up owning the character anyway in 2009, which is weird. They Eclipse Comics went out of business during a run by Neil Gaiman and Mark Buckingham. So.
And at the time, Eclipse Comics was owned by who? Todd McFarlane.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah, this is a who's who of 90s.
Right?
Comic,
you want to throw names around? It's everybody's been involved with this guy.
Yeah. Geez. All right. So Neil Gaiman and Mark Buckingham, they had plans for a 3-volume series on Miracle Man. Volume 1 was called Golden Age, and they started working on Silver Age when Eclipse went out of business. And so the Silver Age follow-up is going to be what starts at Marvel next year.
Oh, other random, if you want, again, to continue the who's who, in 2013, Marvel republished a Miracle Man comic.
Okay.
The writer, Grant Morrison.
Wow, yeah.
The artist, Joe Quesada.
Oh, man.
So legitimately, this character that nobody knows is like names after names after names.
No, the people that seem to know and care about this character are some of the greatest comic book minds of all time.
It's insane.
So maybe this character is worth checking out, people. Maybe we check
Seriously.
out, start looking into some Miracle Man trades. So anyway, Miracle Man, Marble Man was originally created in 1954 by writer and artist Mick Anglo, and he was intently created to be a British version of Captain Marvel, who was also now called Shazam to avoid confusion with Marvel Comics. So
yeah, not to be confused with Captain Britain or
right. So Miracle Man and Shazam are similar in many ways, not only power set, but also the fact that they had to change their name to avoid confusion with Marvel Comics. So
and the original Miracle Man like depiction is like Superman legit.
Oh, yeah.
Blue suit with an M on his chest instead of an S.
Yeah. Yep, same colors as Superman, all primary, blue, red, and yellow. He's got super strength. He can fly. He's got all Superman powers. Plus, he can shoot energy from his hands. I think is another thing. And he's also
fine.
I guess he's got like a high intelligence or whatever too. But so anyway, you gonna buy Miracle Man?
With that track record, now that we've talked about it, there actually might be a chance.
Definitely worth getting into. I feel like picking
Right.
up that Alan Moore run. I'm sure they're in trade paperback at this point. Either the Alan Moore run or the Neil Gaiman series, I feel like, is probably worthwhile for sure.
Yeah, do you go with the Alan Moore, the Neil Gaiman, or the Grant Morrison? Like,
well, I don't know.
Choose your choice.
Neil Gaiman, I feel like Neil Gaiman is a fan of Alan Moore's.
Yep.
Because there's stuff that Neil Gaiman continues. There are ideas that Alan Moore set up in his Swamp Thing run that Neil Gaiman continues in Sandman.
Okay.
And so I feel like this is a similar thing where Alan Moore reinvented this character.
Yep.
And then Neil Gaiman ended up picking up the reins for it. So I guess my answer is I don't know. I don't know where I would start. I would probably start with the Alan Moore, and then see what Neil Gaiman did with it, because they're not dissimilar in style, I think, and storytelling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Neil Gaiman's a little more mystical, maybe.
Yeah.
And Grant Morrison, they're kind of the same way. They're like, this might be a hot take, might be offensive to you. I kind of sometimes feel like Grant Morrison is like a poor man's Neil Gaiman.
No,
Or is like,
that's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I feel like they're trying.
If you slandered Chris
Neil Gaiman.
Claremont, there's a big difference.
Never, my friend. Never, my friend.
Of my X-Men pantheon, slander Morrison whenever you want compared to Claremont.
I'm trying to think of comic book artists that I would be offended if someone said something bad about them. And I feel like a lot of them, I'd be like, yeah, I get that.
Right. Like for me, I think it literally would be Claremont.
Yeah, he'd be up there. I mean, Alan Moore, like, he's done some great work, but he's also done some.
He's done some weird stuff too.
He's done some weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Neil Gaiman too. Like Neil Gaiman's great, but like I don't know, like I read every word he puts out.
No.
Tom King has done some brilliant stuff, but he's also done some mess stuff. You know, it's hard to find someone like Claremont that's been like, George Perez maybe.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
You know,
Of the same era.
Yeah. Dennis O'Neil maybe, or like, yeah. Hey. Anyway, that's comics. Miracle Man, check it out. This week in your local comic book store, you got Aquaman #5, Avengers 57, Batman Beyond the White Knight #4, Batman Catwoman #12, the wrapping up of the aforementioned Tom King's saga on Batman and Catwoman, Detective Comics #1061. Steve, oh, you're gonna go somewhere? Okay, I'll just keep going. I just realized this week, I don't know how I missed this. I somehow missed this, that our, one of Steve and I's favorite comic book writers, Ram V, is taking over Detective Comics in July, same time as Chip Zdarsky is taking over Batman. And he's doing this like super high gothic kind of version of Batman where he's fighting demons in Gotham City. I don't know. It just sounds really cool. I'm very excited about the future of Detective Comics. I have not been someone that collects Detective Comics that often. I usually stick with the mainline Batman book, but that might change when Ram V takes it over. Anyway, we got 8 Billion Genies number 2, Harley Quinn number 16, Monstrous number 41, Red Sonja number 10, Robin number 15, She-Hulk number 4, Star Wars Dr. Aphra number 21, Star Wars Han Solo and Chewbacca number 3. I read issue 1 of that and I thought it was great. Swamp Thing number 14, also by Ram V. The Variants number 1, which I'm super excited about. Gail Simone returning to Marvel Comics, writing a cool sounding story about Jessica Jones coming into contact with a bunch of different multiverse variants of herself. Very interesting. Venom, Lethal Protector number 3, X-Force number 29, and X-Men Red number 4, plus a ton of other wonderful comics, of course. Anything jumping out to you, Steve? Or are you reading anything?
You nailed it.
Worthwhile?
Variants has got me like that. Yeah. As soon as I found out that was coming out, it was on my poll. Han Solo and Chewbacca, I'm waiting for a trade on. That's one of those where I'm like, I wanted to pull them, and then I didn't, and then now I'm just going to wait.
I read the first one. I thought it was good.
Nice.
I don't really read Star Wars comics too much, but for some reason I grabbed that one. And spoiler alert, at the end of the first one, Han Solo meets his father.
Oh.
Yeah, interesting.
It's not Darth Vader, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That'd be crazy. That'd be amazing.
Holy crap, they're brothers.
Just keeps expanding that Star Wars. Oh, wow. That makes...
wow. That changes things.
That changes a lot. Oof.
Oh, yeah. Let's not go down that multiversal rabbit hole.
No wonder Ben Solo was a little off.
Oh, boy.
I said to our lovely listeners while you were taking a step away that Ram V, one of our faves, is taking over Detective Comics.
Really?
In July, same time as Chip Zdarsky takes over Batman, and he's got this like epic gothic kind of like story to tell in Detective Comics. I'm very excited.
So you're really just trying to get me to pull more DC books.
I mean, I always am. I'm just telling you
it's
that
true.
I'm excited about this. Yeah.
I can't remember. One of our mutual friends, I gave the Many Deaths of Layla Starr
cool.
trade to.
I haven't read that whole thing. I've just read I got the first 2 or 3. I would love to read the trade.
Well, grab it from Kate if she's done with it.
Also, you know how I just learned I'm shocked that I didn't know about Ram V taking over Detective Comics until recently, but I heard it on an episode of a podcast. I'm going to recommend a podcast to you called Word Balloon. Have you ever heard of that?
No, but now I have.
It comes out like it's not like a super consistent podcast, less than weekly, but host Jon something, I don't remember his last name, but he interviews comic book writers and creators about like big people like Ram V and Tom King and Brian Michael Bendis and like, just like real big comic book creators. And it's cool. It's like the guy knows his stuff, that he knows what they're talking about. It's kind of like a casual conversation, but it's great. So if you're looking to hear interviews with comic book creators, I remember like sometime last year was a great interview with James Tynion IV. Yeah, put it on your list right now. Word Balloon. It's super cool.
It is now being subscribed to in real time.
Nice. Yeah, I don't listen to it all the time, but it's definitely something that's worthwhile if you're into comics and hearing about what's going on in the minds of comic writers. So, moving on into one-shots. These are stories that we wanted to talk about, but not spend necessarily 15 minutes talking about each one of them. First one, something that makes me very happy. Jurnee Smollett teases her return as Black Canary in the HBO Max movie Black Canary. This made me happy because after we heard that the Wonder Twins got canceled, at the time I was like, okay, now are all these other things that they've announced up in the air? I hope these things keep happening, specifically the Black Canary movie featuring Jurnee Smollett. And she doesn't necessarily say, I film on this day and it's coming out this day, no hard confirmations, but she is talking about it as if it is existing and happening, and she's very excited. She says, I can't talk about it as you know, but I can say I'm really excited about what we are developing. Truly, one of the greatest joys of my professional career has been playing Black Canary, and to see the response from the fans online and engaging with it on Twitter. They are a massive reason why I am where I am, and any excitement I have about continuing on the Black Canary trajectory, it's being made possible because of the fans. It's an honor. They are tough. So, again, not a confirmation that yes, we got the green light and we're going, but I mean, it already has green light. It's being developed. It's being written. They hired a director for it. She's on board. So I'm very much hoping that this continues to move forward. I know that they put a cap on the amount of money you were allowed to spend on an HBO Max original movie, and Black Canary, she's got that sonic scream, but she's mostly just a fighter. So, it shouldn't be, unless they give her a crazy adversary, which I don't know why they would. It's seemingly a low CGI budget, so hopefully that'll keep the budget down and they can still make this movie, because I really, really, really want to see a Black Canary movie.
Yeah, and they've confirmed she will also be in Batgirl, right?
I don't know that
just heavy rumored.
That's heavily rumored that she will show up in Batgirl, and that makes tons of sense. She's they are very close. Barbara Gordon and Dinah are very, very close friends. So,
there you go. Speaking, I have no good way to segue to this.
Yeah, that's fine.
A musical version of Back to the Future is coming to Broadway next year. Things I did not think I would ever put in a sentence. The musical apparently has been running in London for the last 2 years and is coming to the U.S. and contains new songs, but also includes versions of Back in Time and Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News, and also Johnny B. Good. So,
well, of course.
Why not?
I feel like you can't have Back to the Future without those songs.
No.
Especially that Johnny B. Good. That's a plot point. Johnny B. Good is a
right.
part of the story.
Yep.
So, that's awesome. There's musicals based on so much stuff, I feel like, that we don't really know, because they don't all get the acclaim that, I don't know, Lion King gets or something like that. But there's an Evil Dead musical. Mm-hmm. There's a Groundhog's Day musical. There's the Back to the Future musical. There's a Star Wars musical. Someone told me they were in a production of Star Wars the musical once, and I was like, "What? That exists?" And they're like, "Yeah, I played Han Solo." Whoa, okay. Who knew?
Well then,
these things are out there, people. I don't know why they all don't get, tentpole Disney Plus releases, but I'd like to see these things.
Yeah, I mean, I'd always be up for Spamalot, but yeah, Back to the Future is. I don't know how to make it in musical form. I guess I don't know how to make Star Wars in musical form either, but that was
like anything else, you just pick a moment and have your character start singing instead of talking.
True.
And it's a musical.
True.
I guess.
There you go.
I don't know. Spotify has renewed Batman Unburied, the podcast, for season 2, starring Winston Duke as Bruce Wayne Batman. It was incredibly popular when it came out. It beat Joe Rogan in the ratings when it was first released.
Nice.
So,
I mean, that's always a plus, but
always a plus, and nothing that's that popular is not going to get a season 2. So, I know DC's got a bunch of other podcasts in the work with Spotify. I haven't listened. I listened to a little bit of Batman Unburied, but I have so many podcasts on my list. It's one of those things that I just didn't finish listening to. But I'm glad that it's getting renewed for season 2. It's awesome.
All right. So, Titan Comics will begin publishing the Conan the Barbarian comics in 2023. We had some talk a couple months ago about Conan had been with Marvel.
Yeah.
And the rights seem to have reverted, which also there was some controversy.
Oh, it was a thing. It was they couldn't call the Beast in Doctor Strange 2
That's what it was.
Shuma Gorath because it was a Conan O'Brien character. Conan the man.
Triumph the comic dog versus Shumagorath.
I would love seeing Marvel heroes go up against Conan O'Brien characters. That would be amazing.
Oh,
Doctor
God.
Strange versus Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. Oh, my God. I'm just trying to think of other ones.
Was the masturbating bear?
Man, the masturbating bear versus Captain America. Black Widow versus vomiting Kermit. There's this. Oh, man.
God.
These are deep cut references.
Yeah, we've definitely just created our own spinoff here.
Oh, God. Anyway.
But,
sorry.
yeah.
It was Conan the Barbarian. And we were like, why? Marvel owns the rights to Conan the Barbarian. Why can't they call it Shumagorath? Apparently, they knew that it was probably coming to a close or something. And who knows? Who knows?
Yep. And now we know. And apparently it's because Titan Comics, who is a offshoot of Titan Publishing Group, which is a UK publisher, now owns the rights to Conan.
Cool. All right. Last one shot. We got a new trailer for Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation. This is something that they've been doing ever since Disney Plus launched. They've been doing like seasonal Lego Star Wars specials. We got a Christmas episode. We got a holiday special. We got a Halloween special. And now we're getting a Summer Vacation special coming out August 5th, I believe. This looked fun and funny. It seemed like there's like their sequel trilogy characters doing their own vacation intercut with original trilogy characters doing their own kind of summer vacation. And Obi-Wan jumps back and forth as a Force ghost in the sequel timeline and as a regular old guy in the original trilogy timeline.
Yep.
Clearly not holding to canon whatsoever, but just out there to have a good time. I think this looked really fun and funny. But I gotta say, sorry, were you gonna say it?
Oh no, go for it.
My favorite part of all this is knowing that this special comes with a brand new song by Weird Al Yankovic called Scarif Beach Party. Scarif being the tropical beach planet that we see at the end of Rogue One. Scarif Beach Party. You do hear a little bit of it in the trailer, and I immediately went to try to stream or download the song. It's apparently not out yet. I think they're releasing it when the closer to when the special actually comes out. But
so now,
Weird Al Yankovic.
Of favorite things for me is that Weird Al Yankovic is actually playing a character, Vic Vanko, in it.
Oh, amazing! I guess I didn't realize that.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And also they got Matt Lanter back as Anakin, Billy D as Lando.
Cool.
Kelly Murray as Rose,
That's right. Yeah.
D. Bradley Baker as Boba Fett, and any appropriate clones that need to be spoken.
Awesome.
So they got the cast is the big thing.
Yep. So this will be fun and funny. Weird Al Yankovic, no stranger to Star Wars songs. He has at least 2. Now this is his 3rd, right? He's got Yoda and the Saga Begins.
Yep.
Yeah, and now Scarif Beach Party.
I can't tell if that's a great thing or a problem that both of us immediately knew that.
It's a great thing, Steve. Weird Al is an incredible artist.
It is true.
One for the ages.
So, Omar Benson will be playing Finn. Omar Benson Miller. You'd know him if you saw him. He's been in a bunch of. He's like you'd immediately know him if you saw him.
Okay.
Yeah, so they got a good number of names back, and they got a good number of new folk. So, yeah,
awesome.
Should work out. Oh,
I'm excited about
Matthew
this.
Wood is on the list as Ben Solo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Weird. So it's definitely not adhering to canon then.
No.
Because
James Arnold Taylor back as Obi-Wan.
9. Oh, nice. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Why not get the
Clone Wars actors
back?
Yeah.
Why not? Cool.
Sweet.
Well, all right, people. As we did last week, we are going to record our Obi-Wanversation as a separate episode right after this episode. So we are going to say goodbye and then come back with a separate episode on the season finale, episode 6 of Obi-Wan. And you'll probably want to listen to us talk about it. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
we're not going to do a Is Ms. Marvel Marvelous this week because, as Steve mentioned previously, we're not caught up. We haven't watched it. Steve got into Stranger Things. I just had a super busy week and wasn't able to sit down and watch Ms. Marvel. But hopefully by next week we'll come back and we'll be caught up in time for episode 4. Talk about episode 3 and 4 of Ms. Marvel. And so stay tuned for our Obi-Wanversation episode. And that's all I got. You got anything else, Steve?
Well, outside of our normal, please go check us out on social media at the Multiverse Report for just about everything. Multiverse RPT on Twitter. Get a hold of us if you want to, the Multiverse Report at gmail.com. Mike is at Carol's Kid on Twitter. I am at Dutch Heart. We're pretty much the same on most socials. Other than that, yeah, like, review, subscribe, follow us on Twitch if you're watching us. Just keep watching, keep subscribing, and keep on multiversing.
I will also give a shout out. I host another podcast called Audio Capsule, where my friend Mark Turley and I talk about our musical endeavors, recapping kind of like albums or songs that we've written. I recently did an episode about a EP that I released called Never Seen Star Wars, and it's 6 songs having to do with Star Wars stuff. So if you're a nerd and you like songs about Star Wars, similar to Weird Al Yankovic, go check that out. You can check out the podcast, hear me talk about it. You can also check out that actual EP on my Bandcamp page, carolskid.bandcamp.com, or Spotify, Apple Music, all that kind of stuff too. So listen to that. And otherwise, Steve, unless you got anything else, anything to plug?
Right. No. I mean, if you care about Syracuse sports, tune into the Noon's Magician podcast, and that's about it.
All right. Well, stay tuned for our Obi-Wanversation, and until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.